Hello there, just one of the Munsons here for the moment, here on New Reality TV. How are you doing? Do let me know in the chat, Mrs. M. There is clearly a Mrs. M-shaped hole next to me, which will be filled in just a moment. Tom Evans joining us. Oh, there's a hand. I wonder if we're going to get any more than that this morning here in Portugal, where, to be fair, I have to say it's very stormy. We've got storm. Oh, hello. Nice of you to join us.
Hello.
Storm Jana, I think it is.
Seriously?
Yeah. Or Jana, Storm Jana. So it's been raining, it feels like now, for the last 12 years here in Portugal. But
For the last 12 years?
Yes, it just does feel like
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Yeah, enough of this rain, quite frankly. Does it get to you?
A little bit, yeah.
You may have noticed it's getting to me. Getting to me. So here we are, a new week, and our great friend Tom is with us. So let's bring him on to the screen to join us. Hiya, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Oh, hi there. Hi there.
How was your birthday last week? Did you have a nice day?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was just telling Carl that we got a clean bill of heart on Louise as well.
Fantastic
Lovely
news.
Lovely
you
news.
look really relieved.
Yeah, no surgery, just a medication modified and an annual check just to make sure our heart's still beating. And I'm still pouring lots of love into it. That's the
that's the way,
so
isn't it? That's the best medication ever, isn't it? Fantastic.
So last week we were talking about your Flavours of Thought, weren't we? And you had so many details, didn't you, of how you were using the major arcana in decision making, and I think you were going to do a demonstration today. Is that right?
Yeah.
Actually,
a spell. We're weaving a spell.
Oh,
here
that's right. Yeah.
So bearing in mind that any therapy really is a reframe. So you're thinking one way, and you have a bit of intervention that allows you to think another way. And as thoughts become things, especially as you get more and more adept at manifestation, pointing all your thoughts in the right direction is kind of useful. So what I'm going to do on this spell is actually I've got some of the cards associated with it out. But I'm not going to do a spread on air. What's good about these spreads is if you've got a tarot deck, you can actually get the deck and assemble them in the pattern as described in the pattern of the flavor, which we might need to bring up at some point. You've still got that graphic around somewhere.
Yeah, I do.
She's working on
I'm just getting it now behind the scenes.
Can I ask you a question before we go on any further? Your first look at the tarot deck, do you remember what you used to think about the tarot, and then the first time you saw a deck and the first deck you owned yourself?
Yeah, what happened was I went on this course which was called How to Be Psychic. 9 over 9 months. Quite an amazing lady called Lisa Turner. And she said to me, "You'll be easy to do," she said, "because you've got no expectations." I only did it as research. I was intrigued. And then I went, "Oh, that's what you mean by psychic. I've done that all my life. I didn't know that's what it was." And all it is being sensitive to your thoughts and understanding which ones might not be yours and which ones might be someone else's. And that classic thing, who's on the phone before it rings and that sort of stuff. And increasingly that happens to me now is when someone comes into my head and literally a second later an email comes in from them. So you pick up on other people and what other people are thinking. We could do a session on the sixth senses. That would be quite a good one to do. The sixth, I tend to be quite claircognizant, so I kind of know stuff that I didn't know before. Other people are clairsentient, can pick up a stone or a crystal and get its history. Some people are clairaudient. I've had 1 or 2 clairaudient sessions in my life where a voice has come in and it's a voice from outside your head. Clair gustatory, which is you taste, and clair olfactory, which is people can smell.
That's amazing.
So yes, I can't lose. You look like a couple of adorable pilots today. Yes,
I guess they do
please remain seated.
Yeah.
And take all your belongings with you.
You have to be the first officer, Carl, I would imagine. Anyway, so I went on this course, and she sat us in a semicircle. And she had the major arcana upside down and said, "Pull out a card, but don't look at it. Don't look at it." And then she went round everybody, and then she got to me, and I turned it over, and it was the Tower. Funnily enough, which funnily enough is the base flavor in this in this spell that we're doing today, right?
Excellent.
And I just said, what do you think that means? I said, well, I think this means that, it's all about illusion and how, I guess that's the Tower of Babel, I said, and how, you're trying to get up to God, and that's silly because heaven's down on earth and you only have to look around, doesn't it? It'll be here. And and it's a folly of humanity to think that just sort of getting higher than everywhere else is the way to ascend to some sort of mastery. And she said, that's absolutely spot on, she said to me. How do you know that? I said, well, it just came to me, like intuitively. So she then said to me, you've got to read this book by Paul Foster Case. This is The Keys to the Wisdom of Ages that I mentioned. And that's what sent me off down this road. He passed away in 54, 55, came to me in a dream once with a 1 peso note. And I didn't think, that's a cent in Mexican. And I looked back over Wikipedia, and the 1 peso note was a currency when he was alive. And I wouldn't have known that. So he came and presented this note to me, which happened to have a sun and moon clock on it. Pretty much around that time, I started thinking with the moon phase. You see my moon clock just behind me here. Yes. Anyway, so I read this book by Paul Foster Case, signed up with this esoteric school, which is still going, called the Builders of the Adytum. And I just found it too complex for normal mortals. So that's when I started writing these. I started writing these books, which were like contemporizations and deconstructions, but also putting it into a different context where everybody can understand it, even if you'd never come across the tarot, and even if you didn't have a tarot deck. But what you can do with what we're doing today is, if you've got a tarot deck, if you lay your equivalent tarot cards out.
She wants to go and get
I'm going to go and get
a deck.
I'm going to get
lay them out on your desk or somewhere you'll see them this week. Then the magic of the spell will have better efficacy, which is a good word. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. All right. Efficacy.
So interestingly enough, I've been musing on this spell on and off over the week, thinking that, because I have the pattern sitting out in front of me and I have the card sitting in front of me, and I realized it applies to what I'm doing right now as well as what you might be doing with the show, and what Louisa might be doing with her stuff, and also people. Keys to the Wisdom of Ages, Bob. It's a great book, although very hard to read. I think it is a good place to start, but if you want an easy place to start, then obviously Flavours of Thought is the best place to start, because I've written it all in plain English, and you don't need to study.
It really helps. Have you done a Portuguese translation yet? Because that could help. Bob,
no, but that's the beauty of it. One of the background to the tarot is this might be an apocryphal story, but apparently when the major world religions were rising, all the adepts were worried about this ageless wisdom being buried, suppressed, and so they got together in Fez, and they said, well, let's encode it. Let's encode it in pictures, because that transgresses all language and stuff like that. Yeah. And then I've gone away from that. I've gone, let's take the pictures down to a single word. So let's say we're talking about the tower today, and I came up with that's the exciting intelligence, or the energy of excitation. The beauty of having Flavours of Thought in language, of course, is that they can be really easily translated into different languages. So we could have a Portuguese version, we could have a Spanish version, a Mandarin version, and what have you. Flavours of Thought with a U in it, because I did the British spelling. So there you go.
Putting the U in Flavours of Thought.
Exactly, Flavours of Thought. So,
I've got.
She's got a deck.
I don't know which one this is called.
Well, I'm kind of mindful of time.
Pulp tarot.
Okay, so I'm mindful of time only because this is quite a complex spell to put together. By the way, there are 51 trillion spells. I've never done this spell before, so this is the first time this spell has been done.
Do you want us to bring us up the?
Okay, over to you, Tom.
Can you bring up the thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the book, I do lots of 3 flavor spells. So the idea, let's say and everything resolves to the Fool at the top. So you go, bloody obvious. I don't know why I didn't see that before. So we start with a flavor on the bottom row. So let's say we start with the flavor of reception, which is the moon. We then go upwards to the key 11, the flavor of equilibrium. We then go to the flavor of composition. And in the book, I've got a recipe that talks about that transformation, and it leads you to the obvious. But what we're going to do is we're going to take 7 flavors. We're going to take 3 from the bottom row, which is 15, 16, and 17. Then we'll take moderation and replication from the middle row, validation from the top row, and then that'll lead to and isolation from the middle row, and then validation, and that will lead us. Those 7 flavors will lead us to the obvious. Right. So specifically, Louisa, remember this was about your online business.
Yep.
And so we start with the idea of we're going to excite it into a new state. Simple as that, right? But we're not going to get excited by it. We're just going to excite it into a new state. And the way we do that is we look at the adjacent flavors, and specifically we start with the flavor of germination. And I'm guessing you've already planted some seeds already, haven't you?
I have, yeah. Definitely planted some seeds.
How are you nurturing them at the moment?
Well, I haven't really nurtured them this weekend.
There we go.
We had a big oops, I'm trying to get my glasses on.
Glasses and headphones combo.
No, it doesn't work very well. We had a couple of power cuts, and also the internet went down, and lots of other sort of disruptions to energies. And so
take those
really
disruptions.
Nurture anything.
What do you perceive about the nature of those disruptions? Why would they come along at that particular time?
To distract me. I mean, they were things outside of myself. They did also show me the fragility of things. You know, that things can just stop all of a sudden. When you're in flow, things can suddenly stop. And I usually just wait to see what's really coming up. You know, what other things, you know, I think at the moment where I am in my life, I think if something's not really, really obvious, sometimes it's okay to wait until things do feel obvious. And I always think that there's something else that needs to drop into being.
So you've moved naturally and organically to key 9, the flavor of isolation. So yeah, this is what happens. So you basically now say, okay, I'm observing the seeds there. I know I want to excite them into blooming and blossoming and also reseeding and going around the loop again. And I did this just by perceiving what was going on. And even though these things you happen at the weekend are outside of you, of course, the inner and the outer are a mirror of each other. And then that flavor of isolation, the hermit key 9, allows us to step above. He sits on a mountain. You can see all the peaks around him and all the peaks he's come from. He's got a staff to hold him steady, and he's got a light to show him the way, and also a light for others to follow. So what we can do to give him a bit more support, we can bring in the key of moderation and say, okay, that's fine. Well, we're going to want to bring these seeds on. We want to excite them into existence, but we're not going to do it from a position of force. We're going to do it from a position of allowing. And this is the flavor of moderation. You're applying moderation to something. You're not moderating it per se. You're just being moderate in the way that you approach the thing. And patience is part of it. And then we go over to key 10, which is the flavor of replication. So you planted these seeds before. You've had a business before, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've done online stuff before. What can you do which is very similar to the way you used to do it before, but slightly different this time?
Well, one thing that I haven't done, which was next on my list, was to get in touch with all of my supporters, everyone that's supported me so far. And I was hoping to do that this weekend, and I just didn't get around to it. So it's on my list to do something, but I think I'm being a little bit slow. I don't feel like I have to rush. I almost feel like if I rush right now, which is what I tend to do, the feeling of rush might come out in what I'm doing. And so I feel like I'm being calm about it. Usually what I like with my old business, I would talk things up. I would get into the energy of it already succeeding, and I would talk about it as if it, like, for instance, when I became a freelance trainer, and I wasn't actually a freelance trainer. I had a work contract which was about to end, and people said, "What are you doing at the end?" I said, "Oh, I'm a freelance trainer. I'll just be running a training session for a different company. And I said it with such conviction. And within like 3 weeks, I had about 4 customers. So I didn't actually need to go out and do anything. It all came to me. So maybe I need to talk about what it is I'm doing as if it's already a done deal.
That's nice to do, isn't it?
And what were your
thoughts? I was minded over the weekend that now that I've got a fairly clear run in and don't have to worry about hospital appointments and stuff like that for Louise. It's about time that we had those reciprocal chats on New Reality TV about our 2 businesses, because I realized that I realized this spell applied to me and the Aditum and my contemporary alchemy school. And what I'd done is I planted the seeds, but I've not really told anyone what they are. And they're growing, but I haven't explained them very well at all to anyone that's uninitiated. So that would be a nice thing to do, to explain them in a better way. And that took a bit of isolation. It took me to step back. Other things external to me to have come in to make me just pause a little bit. I've done the planting. I've got everything in. I've got all the fertilizer in. I've got everything sort of poised, if you know what I mean. Funny enough, we're coming up to spring when everything can fully germinate as well. Like you, we've had some good weather, then we've had some bad weather. So the weather around us is oscillating as well, which probably means that we should just keep the seeds in the ground for another couple of weeks before we allow them to fully bloom. And then this is where key 2 comes in, the flavor of validation, high priestess. So she has got the high priestess has got a moon on her head, right? She's obviously guided by the moon phase. She also sits on a throne, on a square throne, and she holds a scroll, and the scroll has got all the answers in it, got everything in it, right? And she knows them, but she also knows there's not the right time necessarily to bring them out. But I think you hit the nail on the head when you're talking about getting people to describe them to you, describe what you're doing to you, is really, really important. And by doing that, they'll validate your work. And it occurred to me over the weekend as well, is that in the same way that the first version of Flavours of Thought that I wrote, I didn't mention the word tarot in it once. Right? I wonder what an astrology course that didn't mention astrology so much would be like. Because it's, as you've always said, you use the astrology as your keys. You use them as your prompts and stuff like that. And also by doing that, my aim was to get the tarot to people that would never run a mile if they saw the word tarot.
Yeah,
tarot is a bit bonkers, but like a Ouija board or something like that. So I just wanted to write about the keys as literally being keys. So imagine if astrology is the background to it, and you gave some new name, right? It's obviously about time. It's about interaction. It's about energy. And I've got to say that I was a bit of a skeptic about AI recently, but I've been using it a bit, not to write, but just bouncing some ideas around. And there's a lovely lady called Tracy Connor who's going to have a show on New Reality shortly. She sent me some names for her show. And she's an amazing. She's in Ireland. She knows lots of stuff about the sort of mystic traditions of Ireland. And she sent me some show titles, and they were a bit lame. She knew that. She said, "Any better ideas than these?" I said, "I'll just pop it into ChatGPT." Boy, it came up with some great names. So Celtic Soul, a show called Celtic Soul, is going to come to us shortly, which is a lovely thing to do. So,
isn't that interesting to think about AI as a divination tool as much as a technology?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of mixing things around, and if I put the flavors into it, I was sure I'd get some amazing things coming.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I could do spells using AI. A chap I did have on my show recently, Richard Barrett. He and I share a birthday. Funny enough, it's his birthday on Friday as well. And he's been pointing the AI engine at his complete legacy of his body of work, all his books, and saying like, sort this lot out. Let me know what I've not written yet. That's obvious.
That's such a good idea. I think it's very helpful to help you know where you've got gaps
Yeah.
You were talking about the High Priestess. So I've got a deck of cards that a friend bought me last year, the Pulp Tarot. It's highly stylized.
Yeah.
And so I thought I'd bring up the High Priestess and look for clues because, there's always clues in things. And so this is what she looks like.
Nice.
She's got some keys down by her left arm. She's got maybe not the scrolls of the world, but she's got the Torah in her hands.
Yeah.
She's got loads of peace signs that look like they're orbs, almost like there's orbs around her. I love the fact that she's got her right hand up as if she's receiving energy.
Yeah.
And she looks really serene. She doesn't look like she's in a rush. She looks really quite happy in her own energy.
And she's got the scroll in her hand as well, and the crescent of the moon on her outfit.
Yeah, and she is wearing blue. She's looking very chilled, very serene. I don't know what else to scry from this, but what really comes across is that she has all the keys. She has all the keys, at hand. They are like the keys are very, very close to her hand. And so what occurs to me there is if I was to use a High Priestess sort of energy, I might just sit down and relax and know that there are orbs of peace around me. I see those kind of orbs almost as if they are little bits of knowledge that are ready to just kind of dive in.
It's all around you already, isn't it?
It's all around. Everything that she needs is all around her and ready to kind of drop in at a moment's notice. So I think going into grace is quite a good thing to do.
Yeah. And just count the number of orbs as well. Just count how many.
I'll do that now.
If, by the way, you were thinking this is a private Flavours of Thought, pattern of flavors therapy session, it turns out that this is very helpful to Sarah as well. So helpful.
22.
22. That's a resonance for Thunderduck, who's also here.
Oh yes,
receiving it vicariously, and Donna Marie also here. I can totally relate with where you're at right now, and I'm keeping quiet because I've also been applying what you've been saying to my membership as well. And something that happened, Tom, that was quite uncanny last week when you said, "How about you let the members help you with the membership?" The platform that I used launched an affiliate program so that the members could actually be rewarded and incentivized on that. I think on the same day that you mentioned that. It was quite uncanny. Yeah. Sorry, back to you, Tom, and this process.
Well, that's it, really. So you ended up in this thing where it's key that whatever you do is validate any modifications to how you're doing it, but keep looping it around. So once you validate exactly what it is, okay. So I didn't realize I had those seeds planted in exactly the right way, but at either the wrong time or in the wrong area, right? Yeah. So I'm of the opinion that we've got lots of clients that don't even use us for our services because they don't think that we've necessarily got something for them because of the way that we framed it.
Yes. You know what I mean?
So we can be. And I'm just going to put a new module out on my course, realizing that because it's quite advanced. If someone finds, I've assumed that everyone that finds me would have found me through my meditations, through Insight Time. But what if someone comes along who doesn't know this guy called Tom Evans? I haven't got an introductory module in there just to ease people in. So I'm putting a new module together over the next day or two called Meditations of Transmutation.
That sounds interesting.
And so transmutation being the alchemical process, if you know what I mean. And funnily enough, I just interviewed this guy Lou Redmond last week, and he's part of my season 2 on New Reality TV, and that's all about meditations of transmutation as well. Yeah. So
all roads lead back to New Reality TV.
So if we were to sorry, you were about to finish? Sorry, I'm in a
three pathways as well. So the other thing is that I just had this one pathway, which was this monolithic. Come in and just do this. But I realised there'd be at least three different profiles for people coming to this work. Some people just want a bit of bliss. You just want to find a life of bliss. Some people are students and want to learn all this stuff. and other people might want to use it to produce an artwork or a book or something like that. So I'm going to put 3 paths together as well. It's funny that we got this flavor of 7 that's got 3 pathways to get to the resolution. And so by giving people different paths, you widen the number of people that can come in. You're not just saying it's this stuff, and there'd be 3 different profiles for people that can come in. And it takes the pressure off somebody thinking I've got to learn all this stuff, when actually just take a bit of it on board and the bit that applies to you. And I just put it all out there. I think what I did, I scattered all the seeds in the field, but I didn't plough them into nice little furrows that are understandable. I maybe mixed some seeds with other seeds that shouldn't go together. So it's about
genetic
sort of
modification. Yes,
exactly. It's about getting the ducks in the row and getting all the seeds in the row as well.
22 and ducks mentioned. That's interesting, isn't it? Bingo, says Sarah. Say more. Come on, Sarah. Spill the beans. What bingo moment have you had there?
Well, bingo is 22 is 2 little ducks, isn't it?
It is.
Like you say, so that's where it comes from. The bingo calls. Kelly's eye.
Well, what occurs to me?
The bingo tarot.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I use things in so many different ways, and so
you're going to hold those up and see those lovely cards.
I pulled out these cards one after the other: Death,
nice,
Hermit, followed by the Star,
and
finally the Chariot. And when I look at the numbers of them, I think, oh, wow. Yeah, there's, because I use asteroids with my astrology, there are asteroid numbers and they've all got a little identification. So Death is number 13, Hermit is 09, 17 is the number for the Star, and 07 is the number for Chariot in this deck. And so what I was thinking is I could go into a birth chart for now. And I could add in asteroid 13, asteroid 9, asteroid 17, and asteroid 07, and see where they are in a birth chart and see how they can describe what I might need to do. Or I could do 1309 or like 13091707, which would absolutely be an asteroid, and see where it sits in the chart and use the astrology in the house to determine what I need to do.
And you love, I mean, it sounds like you've got yourself a little mission, which you love.
Well, that's a spell. That's an astrological spell.
Yes, it is.
Also, you can sum the keys up, so add them all up to whatever number they come to and resolve it down and see what the essence is. That's quite a useful thing to do.
Oh, yes.
I haven't done it with this. I haven't done it with this spell.
Right, Tom, you need to tell us where we're going next week, because we're running out of time here today. Mrs. M's just doing the maths. It has been like a game of countdown.
With these first 2 equal 22.
I think we need to start exploring Mrs. M astrology and tarot.
Yes, 22's really figured a lot this morning. We live at number 22 as well.
Yeah, we do. I'm actually going to start a new show. I'm going to start a new show soon on New Reality TV called what is it called? Know Your Stars, Know Your Life.
Know the title of your show.
Yeah. So I'm going to be teaching people right from word go. Every episode will be, a new step in learning how to do it yourself.
Very good. Right, look, we've got to go. TomEvans.co. Find out more about Tom there. Get Flavours of Thought. That's a starting point for you, Bob, if you want to get Flavours of Thought. We've got about 30 seconds to go. Where are we going next week, Tom? Where are we going to pick up this journey and where are we off to?
Well, let's pick it up with let's see how the asteroids map onto this. We could actually do a map.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I will draw a map.
Okay. Join us for the journey, the continuing adventures of Tom Evans
helping us
here
this
on
plane?
The moment. I'm going to bring us in now. So please fasten your safety belts. I hope you've enjoyed flying with Tom Evans and the Munsons this morning, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning, and we'll be with Tom next week. Take care. Bye for now. Have a great day.